DreAllDay.com.
Now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves anyone out there, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And we put all this together into one bundle, one package, one mindset. We have created a whole framework. We have streamlined the entire process. We wrote a book on the subject. We got a university. We codified the whole system. This is all called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is a topic that I realized that I hadn't actually gone on the record and spoke on this topic. This is something that I've talked about many times in the past. I'm going to talk about a whole lot more times in the future. As I told you, I will repeat myself because you and I, we all got hard skulls, so we got to hear things over and over again. We call it space repetition. These are three truths that I'm going to tell you about people, and these are truths that are not necessarily things that may make you so happy. I mean, if you think I'm talking about you, I don't think I'm talking about you, but I don't know. You can answer the question whether I'm talking about you, but these are three truths that are generally true about human beings. And these are things that you should keep in mind. I'm going to tell you why you should keep these in mind. You want to keep these in mind because as long as you remember these and you internalize them, and then you just resolve to be the opposite of these truths. I'm going to tell you three truths that, again, may not put human beings in their best light. Let's just put it that way. As long as you do the opposite of these things, you can create a ton of success for yourself. So I've touched on these before. I realized I didn't have a full masterclass dedicated to it. So I'm putting myself on the record with this right now. So the next time I mention this, all I'll do is just tell you, hey, refer yourself back to this episode number, and I'll tell you, and then you go listen to it yourself so I don't have to keep saying it. So here it is. So I'm saying it. And again, the key, everything I'm telling you here today, you're going to do the opposite of these things, because this will put you ahead of 95% of the population. These things I'm going to tell you do apply to 95% of the people in the world. Now, you may look around at your circle and say, well, Dre, I don't see this in the people that I know. I don't see this in my friends. I don't see this in the people that I'm around. My answer to that is good, and keep it that way. All right, so if you don't see any of these traits in the people that you hang with or work for you, or that you work for, or you consider your friends, that is a good thing, because the people that you're around, you're probably around, you got a strong circle of people. You got some friends around you who are about something, some people who are actually doing shit with their lives. These traits will not apply to them, and you should keep it that way, that you don't know anyone who fits these descriptions. But when you meet people who ain't in your circle and they're not going where you're going, they're not on the same trajectory that you're on, but weigh them, measure them against these three things I'm going to tell you here today. And then you'll say, oh, okay, now I know what Dre was talking about. All right, because I do know what the hell I'm talking about. So let's get into it. Point number one. Topic, once again, I'm going to tell you three unfortunate truths about human beings. Number one, people are lazy. Yes, you heard me. Motherfuckers don't want to work. All right, this is it. People are lazy. Now, any of you who has enough experience dealing with people, especially if you run any type of business, if you have done anything where maybe you were looking for a business partner, if you've done anything where maybe maybe you're doing something outside of your normal work, your full-time work, and you recruited people to work with you, or you and other people decided to do something together, and for whatever reason, that thing fell through, or people didn't do the job that they said they were going to do. You know what I'm talking about here. People just don't want to work. A lot of times, people just don't want to give effort to doing something to get better. If you want to be an athlete, for example, if you're trying to get to the next level in your sport, I don't care if it's middle school, high school, college, pro, and you have friends who are around you, and this is something I tell athletes this all the time. If I talk to some middle school athletes, I say, look around, because when you get to high school, most of the guys you're playing with right now ain't gonna be playing anymore. Why? Because they just don't want to do the work anymore. If you're in high school, when you get to college, most of the guys you're hanging with in high school, they ain't gonna be playing no more. Why? Because they don't want to keep doing the work. If you're in college, look around, when you get to the pros, most of these guys that you know in college ain't gonna be there. Why? Because they don't want to do the work, or they can't do the work, or they just ain't got the game to do the work. Motherfuckers just don't want to work. All right, this is just a truth that you need to understand about people. So if you're the type of individual who always works hard, you always show up, you're always giving effort, understand that you are an exception to the rule amongst the larger population of human beings. Effort is one of the 5 forms of investment. In episode 609, the 5 forms: time, money, attention, energy, and focus. So I'm referring to energy here when I say effort. In episode number 1261, I described to you and told you why every single job that you will do in life requires a grind. There is a grind to every job. And when I say grind, that doesn't mean that you're going to dread the job or that you're going to hate doing the work or the process. It means that there will always come a time, or times, plural, in any job that you do, no matter how much you love it, when you're not really excited about doing that job. You're not really that happy about the work that you had to do in that moment, but you got to show up and deliver anyway. The principle, the framework that I created around that whole concept is called the third day. And we got a lot more coming on that in 2021. So just stay tuned on that point. But there is always a grind in a job. And here's the thing you got to understand. When the job hits that point of it being a grind, any job, most of the people that you're around and most of the people that you're hanging with in a moment, they're going to fall off. They're going to fall off the wagon. Not because actually it is because they just don't want to do the work. They don't want to give the effort. They don't want to keep showing up. Things are not always going to work out the way that you want to in any endeavor that you get involved in life. I think all of us understand that. Many of you have probably experienced that. You know what most people do when things stop working the way they wanted them to work? They just stop coming. They just stop showing up. Things stop working, they stop working. Now, when things stop working in your life and you give up at the exact same time, then what kind of results are you expecting to get in the long run of your life? I mean, we don't even have to answer that question, do we? But every job requires a grind. In episode number 1261. Actually, that was 1261. Episode 1105. I told you what makes the job a job. So it's a sister episode or a cousin episode. So what I talked about in 1261. There are a lot of things that go into jobs that many people from the outside looking in don't understand. For example, you look at the job of someone who has a daily podcast. You're like, damn, this person puts out content all the time. That's great. And it was good material and I learn from it and they be dropping gems. But do you understand that in order to put this content out every day, that means editing has to be happening every day. We got to make sure we're putting the right artwork with the show every day. We got to make sure the RSS feed is updating as it's supposed to be every day. We have to export and go through the audio and make sure it's checked and make sure that if I laugh or if I cough or I sneeze or I got to stop to blow my nose or some outside noise happens while I'm recording, we got to edit all that out every single day. I got to come up with a new topic every day. I got to flesh the topic out and know exactly what I'm going to talk about every day. I got to make sure that we're linking to the episodes that I refer to in every episode. I got to link to them in the show notes every single day. There is a job that goes with this. If my throat is sore or I'm sick or I just don't really feel like being on the mic, but I sign myself up for a show that comes out every day, I got to do it anyway. These are part of the things that make the job a job. And understand that many people can't hold down certain jobs because they're not willing to do the part that ain't shiny. There's a part of a job that may be shiny. It may be shiny to see somebody who's an athlete, but you don't see when they're in practice every day. You don't see that off-season training. You don't see the trips to the doctor and the physical therapist and all the rehab and the ice baths and the foam rolling and the sports massages and all the stuff that's not so sexy about that job. You don't know that from the outside looking in, but these are the things that make a job, and these are the exact reasons why many people can't keep a job even though they had the talent to do the work. If hard work was easy, it would be called easy work. This show is called Work on Your Game for a reason, because it filters out the people who don't want to do the work. That's why the very title of the show, the first word is work on your game. So we call it Work on Your Game. So someone who's just browsing through the title, as soon as they see that word work and they're the type of individual who doesn't want to do the work, they're like, all right, no, they're passing on it unconsciously. They don't even think about it. They only have to consciously come to the decision. Their subconscious mind already tells them this is not for us because we're not trying to do the work. I'm the guy who tells you, even though I'm the guy who tells you that talent does not beat hard work, or that hard work doesn't beat talent, rather. Talent will beat hard work. I want you to understand physical and mental work is what enhances your talents. And when you have a natural ability or you have some natural skill that puts you ahead of most people in a certain field, that's where you should probably angle to spend your career, because you have an advantage over everyone else. You don't want to be competing against the whole world because you're not going to win. So you want to find a place where you have the talent, you have the natural inclination and ability that other people don't have. And then once you realize what that space is, now you got to work hard. Now you have to give effort so that you can enhance your talent and get to where you want to go. So you see somebody like LeBron James. Is LeBron James talented at basketball? Of course he is. Does he work hard? Yes, he does. And when you put the combination of hard work and talent together, that's when you get greatness. That is what we talked about in an episode called The Greatness Equation. If you haven't heard that episode, I will tell you where to find it. That is episode number 1103, The Greatness Equation. So I would suggest, actually, as a matter of fact, I would suggest you listen to, I'll give you 5 episodes in a row, actually 6 episodes in a row, 7 as a matter of fact, in a row that you should listen to. Episode number 1099, Stop doing all the work if you're an entrepreneur. 1100, Delegation 101 for entrepreneurs. Number 1101, Codification of your knowledge. Number 1102, Raising your prices, the logical and emotional understanding. 1103, the greatness equation. 1104, are you untapped potential or are you a bum who's struggling to be mediocre? And 1105, what makes the job a job? And as a matter of fact, while we're at it, I'll give you one more. 1106, how to keep your own mind from destroying you. So this was a streak right here that I must say, I was on one in this streak right here this week. So 1099, 1100, 1101, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06. You go listen to all of those in a row right now and take notes on everything that I said. So anyway, back to what we're saying here on point number 1. I'm still telling you 3 truths about human beings. Talent is the entry fee to get you into a certain field, and hard work is the recurring payment. That's the retainer that you pay in order to keep that thing working for you. It's like the membership fee. Any of you ever joined the gym? And the gym tells you, it's going to be $50 a month for the gym, but then there's a one-time initiation fee, then a processing fee of $300. So talent is the processing fee. All right, it's only one time, but you got to pay that to get in the room. And then every month, the hard work is the membership fee. You understand what I'm saying? And most people don't want to pay either one. That's why most people do not create success. Point number 2. Today, I'm telling you 3 truths about human beings that you should keep in mind and do the exact opposite of these. Number 2, people don't think. Thinking is hard work, everybody. I don't know how much time you spend thinking. I'm assuming if you're listening to this show that you're a thinking individual. Thinking is work. Most people do not think. I mean, look around at your life. Look around at people that you maybe know of. Maybe they're associates, but they're not really in your circle. A lot of them aren't thinking individuals. Tell me that I'm wrong. I just told you in episode number 1696 about not becoming a sheep and learning how to think for yourself and making sure that you're thinking for yourself. The thing about being a sheep is that they don't think for themselves. They see what the other sheep are doing, then they just go follow. And the person who actually started the movement of the sheep going in one direction, they didn't even know what was going on. They thought somebody else did it, so they're following, and everybody else is following. So you got the blind leading the blind, a bunch of sheep leading each other. And the challenge of being a sheep is that you will walk straight into a slaughterhouse and not even know what's going on. And then you become a fur coat and you become a lamb chop. Sheep wait for other people to tell them what their thoughts should be and what their opinions should be. That's what a sheep does. They do not think for themselves. They get presented an opinion, or they get presented something that is posed to them as information, and they just blindly accept it without assessing it or thinking about whether it makes sense or not, especially if there's something in the sheep's head that already agrees with some of the quote unquote information. This is where what we now call the fake news industry comes from, is when someone gives you a kernel of something that you already agree with, and then they give you a whole bunch of bullshit that goes with it, and you accept it because that little kernel that you already agree with, so now you accept everything that comes with it. Another good analogy for this would be like, if you eat cereal. I was just reading this book called Food by Mark Hyman, who's a doctor, and he talks about cereal, breakfast cereals that you buy in the grocery store, and that none of them have any nutritional value whatsoever. So you eat something like corn flakes. Ain't no corn in cornflakes, but because you see the word corn, you're like, oh, it's corn, so it got to be positive, it got to be healthy for me, right? But then all the bullshit that comes with the cornflake, even if there's a little tiny bit of corn in there, all the bullshit that comes with it, that's the same way that people accept what we now call the fake news industry. This is how people become sheep. They accept this little tiny kernel of information and facts, and then all the bullshit that goes with it, to the point that the fact ain't even a fact anymore. But this is what makes people sheep. Most people do not think. And another reason why this happens is because the mainstream media world, and not even the mainstream media, just people who are in media, period, people who publish, people, not me, but people like myself who have a platform and a microphone where you can publish and you can get whatever information you want out to the world. We have learned, and some people are better than others, we learn how the human brain works. We learn human psychology and how we can manipulate the thoughts of other people, and we learn how to press their emotional buttons with the things that we talk about and the things that we say and the things that we produce. And we can get people to just accepting just a little bit of real information, give them a whole lot of bullshit along with it, and most people will accept it hook, line, and sinker, don't even think about whether it makes sense or not. Most people do not think. I told you in episode number 1474 that the news continues to breed sheep every single day, because we used to trust the news for information. Many people have been raised and socialized to trust whatever the New York Times or CNN or Fox News or MSNBC or who else is the Washington Post, whoever is putting news out. We've been bred to trust whatever they say. Anybody with a suit on and they're on TV, this person must be trustworthy. They must have the facts. They must be giving us objective information. Not anymore. Used to be like that, but I told you in episode 1474, that ship has left the dock. Elvis has left the building. Now what they do is give us their opinions with a little tiny bit of factual information mixed in, maybe optional. And then many people cannot discern the difference between the facts and the bullshit. And the reason why people can't discern the difference between the facts and the bullshit, because it takes effort to discern the difference. You have to actually think to discern the difference. And most people don't want to give the effort of thinking, because I just told you, motherfuckers don't want to do the work in point number 1. In episode number 1192, I told you that thinking is a skill. Thinking is not something that just automatically happens just because. You have to choose to think. Thinking is how you solve problems. Thinking is where insights and ideas come from. It's how new ideas are brought to the market by innovative individuals. People who do these things, who solve problems, who come up with insights and ideas, who bring new things to the market, you know what they are? They are all thinkers. Think of anyone you know who does these things. People who are really good at solving problems. People who always have new insights and new ideas, who are always bringing new things out into the world. They're thinking individuals. They come up with stuff and you're like, damn, how did they even think of that? You ever say that to yourself about somebody? How did they even think of that? Thinking individuals. Most people aren't that. Most people do not think. This is absolutely true. Again, you let me know if I'm wrong about any of this. Let's move on to point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is 3 unfortunate truths about human beings that you should keep in mind and learn to use strategically. Number 3, people don't read. Reading is effort too. Reading takes time. In episode number 240, I told you why you need to read and why you need to read a lot. So go back to episode 240. You can listen to that. Again, workonyourgamepodcast.com. You get access to every episode we ever put out here for free. Reading is where somebody takes, for example, they'll take 2 years of research that person did, or 15 years of their life that they lived. They extract the most important aspects of that 2 years of research or that 15 years of living, and then they condense all that information down into some material that you can consume in, it depends on how fast you read, a month. You get an audio book, 5 hours. You can consume what took a person 50 years of life to learn. You can consume it in 30 days. That's what reading is. In other words, reading is a small investment for a large return, depending on the subject. In this sense, reading is basically a shortcut that you're getting to knowledge. All you got to do is put down 30 days of your life, and you're going to get in exchange 30 years of what someone else lived. And they're going to cut out all the fat and all the stuff that you don't need to know and just give you the stuff that you need to know. It took them 30 years to learn it. It took you 30 days to get it. That sounds like a great investment to me. Understand, people who do things, people who are out here active, giving effort and getting better and putting good stuff into the world, and people who think, you know what they all have in common? They all write books. People who are active out here doing stuff, people who are thinking, they write books. That is not a coincidence. There's a wise man who once said, a foolish man has a big TV, or he said a poor man has a big TV and a rich man has a big bookshelf. Because thinkers and doers are readers. Readers and doers are thinkers. Readers and thinkers are doers. All of these things go together, and the negative sides of each one of them, they all go together too. People who don't want to do any work, they usually don't think too much, and they usually ain't reading anything. And people who don't read, they don't do a whole lot of thinking. And people who don't think, they don't do a whole lot of reading. So you see how all these go together? So if you have one of these traits in the positive, you probably have all 3 in the positive. If you have one of these in the negative, you probably have all 3 in the negative. This is pattern recognition. So you got to learn how to notice these patterns in people so that you don't waste too much time doing analysis of somebody who doesn't even deserve your attention. How much time do you spend reading? How much time do you spend extracting the most essential elements of another person's experience and downloading it into your own mind, otherwise known as reading? So someone, again, when I wrote my book, Work on Your Game, I basically took everything that I had learned in 20 years, from playing sports, from the time I started playing basketball up to the time that I wrote that book. We're talking 20 plus years of experience, and I condensed it down into 250 pages. How long would it take you to read that book? A week? That's what reading does. And it doesn't have to be my book. It could be anyone's. I read Ray Dalio's book, Principles. And Ray Dalio is a lot older than me. I would assume he's in his 60s, might even be in his 70s. And it's one of the best books that I read. I'm going to try to look up Ray Dalio to see how old he is. And he is aged 71 years old. Now, I read this book probably maybe a year and a half ago. His birthday's in August, so let's say he was in his late 60s when he wrote this book. He took 60 years of knowledge, because the first half of the book was just about his life, and the second half was just about his business career and the way he runs his business and the way he has conversations with people on his team and the way they hold each other accountable and the way they debrief when they go over things. It was really, really informative. That was, who knows how long he'd been in business. Let's say he was in his late 60s when he wrote it. Let's say he started in his 20s. Damn near 50 years of knowledge, longer than I've been alive. He took all of that knowledge, condensed it down into a book that I could read in, I read that book in 2 weeks? That's what reading does. That's a wise investment. Smart people make good investments. Stupid people make bad investments. And their bad investment is not even an investment, it's an expense, because the investment goes out, but nothing comes back. A good investment, you put out X amount and you get out twice X, or X plus a little bit more. That's a good investment. There's a return on that investment. Bad investment, you put it out, there's no return. But understand, you're always making investments, because every day you're investing your time, attention, energy, and focus, and maybe even investing your money. Are you investing money in something that's going to pay you back? Are you investing your time, money, attention, energy, and focus in things that are not going to pay you back? Every day you are making good investments or bad investments, and tomorrow you will reap whatever you invested in today. You invest in nothing, and tomorrow you get nothing. Again, look around at the people you know. Do you see this reflected? Do you see what I'm saying reflected in those lives? Let's move on to point number 4. Yes, there's one more point. Today's topic, once again, I'm giving you 3 inconvenient truths about human beings. Now, I gave you the 3 truths. Now, let me ask you a question, because we need to tie all this together. What do all of the above require? I told you the 3 things. Number 1, people are lazy. Number 2, people don't think. Number 3, people don't read. Now, to give effort, to think, and to read all require one thing. And I'll give you a hint what that is. It's the first principle of the whole work on your game philosophy that I introduce every single day when I start this show. It is discipline. I got a book called The Self-Guide to Self-Discipline, also known as The Mirror of Motivation. You can get that for free if you go to mirrorofmotivation.com right now. So the link is down below in the description, wherever you're watching this or listening. How many disciplined people do you know? I remember when I had Wes Pfeiffer on the show. He was on the show 3 times. 3 times he was, I know. He was on the show 3 times. I believe it was his second appearance. And he posed this question. And he said, how many people do you know who have talent? And then he said, how many people do you know who have discipline? How many disciplined people do you know? This is not a rhetorical question. It kind of is, because I can't hear you. But I want you to really think about that. How many people do you know that you would describe as disciplined? And as you think of the answer, and maybe you can't think of anybody, my answer to that is exactly. Because many people look at it and say, well, why would I work hard when I could just chill out and do nothing instead? I could just browse my social media feed and give my whole life to social media, like I told you in episode 1690. Why think for myself when I could just get on the internet, or I can open the newspaper or turn on CNN and let them tell me what my opinion should be of what's going on without me even having to read the news story. Let me just let them tell me what I'm supposed to know about the situation. Why think for myself when I can let somebody else do it for me? Like I talked about in episode 1610, how to think for yourself. Why read a book when I can go on YouTube and watch the 10-minute summary video of a book that is 500 pages, but somebody read the book and they're going to give me a 10-minute summary of all the essential things that I need to know. I can read the cliff notes of the book. Why do that? Because it takes effort to do the other way. And understand that food that's cooked in the oven tastes better than food that's cooked in the microwave. Am I right or am I right? So the discipline that it takes to do the opposite of these 3 truths of human beings, that's what separates the pros from the amateurs. That's what separates the people who succeed from the people who don't. This is just basic. This is just what it is, people. These are 3 truths about human beings. Now, again, if I'm wrong about this and you have some way of explaining to me or proving to me from your perspective why it is not true that the majority of people don't think, don't read, and are lazy, then show me. Explain it to me. I want you to put it in writing, put it in video, put it in audio if you got a podcast or whatever way, but I need you to lay your whole argument out and explain it to me. I don't expect to hear from anyone on that subject, but if I do, hey, I will let y'all know. Let's recap today's class, which is 3 inconvenient truths about human beings. I realized that I wasn't on a record with these, but now I'm on a record. Number 1, people are lazy. Effort is one of the 5 forms of investment, like I talked about in episode 609. In 1261, I told you every job requires a grind. And in 1105, I told you what makes a job a job. If it was easy, if hard work was easy, it would be called easy work. The show is called Work on Your Game for a reason, because it filters out the people who do not want to work. Talent is the entry fee to get into the game, and physical and mental work is the recurring payment. Number 2, people don't think. Thinking is work. I just told you in episode 1696 about not being a sheep. Sheep do not think for themselves. Most people don't want to think for themselves because it takes too much work to think for yourself. And if you think for yourself and you come up with an idea that is different from the consensus, different from what quote unquote everybody else thinks, then you get kicked out of the sheep flock. And most sheep are definitely more afraid of being kicked out of the flock than they are of having a sheep idea. So they'll just stay in the flock and stay being a sheep, even when they may have a different idea. Point number 3, most people don't read. I told you in episode 240 why you need to read a lot. Reading is where somebody takes a certain amount of time and experience of their own lives, condense it down into a format that you can consume in 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 day, depending on how fast you read and how long the material is. That is a great return on investment on a small investment of time, effort, energy, and maybe a little bit of money. Most people aren't willing to do it though. But if you look around, people who do things, people who think, they all write books. And that is not a coincidence. Wise man said, poor people have big televisions, rich people have big bookshelves. Point number 4, what do all the above require? They require discipline. How many disciplined people do you know, despite how many talented people that you know? Exactly. So most people aren't willing to do the work. They're not willing to think for themselves, and they don't want to read because all of those things require discipline. Most people are not disciplined, so most people don't get ahead in life. I mean, again, this is just the game. You can go out and try to change the world. If you do it, listen, I'll have you on the show. We can talk about how you got everybody to do the opposite, or you can learn how to play the game. Your choice. But remember, you don't have unlimited time. Work on your game. Dre all day.